Welcome back to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And we're honored to be with our next guest. We're talking with Chris Hope. He is the executive director of the Chris Hope Foundation. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm doing fantastic. How's it going?
It's going well. So you are changing lives for sure. And when you talk about your efforts with the foundation, obviously there's a personal storyline for you. And so let's start with a little bit of your backstory, including having a full-time job and doing this as an opportunity to pay it forward and help families. And so give us a little bit of your backstory and what led you to start the Chris Hope Foundation.
Well, like you said, I do have a full-time job. I am a road driver for UPS. My workday starts at 1:30 in the morning, and I drive to Texarkana, Arkansas, to meet a Dallas drive. I bring him Memphis loads, and I bring him Dallas loads. He bring me Memphis loads. I bring him back, and I usually punch out about 10:30 in the morning. From there, I start my CHF chores. And pretty much whatever I have on my plate for the day, that's what I handle, whether it be meetings or meet with social workers to try to figure out ways that we can be more of an impact to the families that need us. And pretty much the way we got started, I had a friend who had a son at St. Jude. And when I would visit, I would hear the stories from all the different families. You know, I mean, they're just sitting around chit-chatting, talking. And I never knew how much of a struggle they had beyond their child fighting cancer. They know they lost houses, they lost jobs, and even after the child has fought their battle through cancer, how it's still difficult for them to keep a job or get a job because of the treatments that goes on after the fact. And so I saw this opportunity to come make a difference and talk about the other side of pediatric cancer to our community, so they can know what these families go through.
And I think to your point, from the listener's context, you hear St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, no family pays a bill, which is true. And so when you look at undergoing the treatment, but like you say, many of them are giving up everything to come to Memphis so that their child can receive that treatment. And so when you look at trying to hold down a job, pay their mortgage, do all the things, that's a heavy toll on the family. And so being able to have that support to step in and say, hey, we've got you. You focus on getting your child better. We're going to be that support network for the family. That's a huge added value benefit for those families who are undergoing treatment. And so talk about kind of the way it works on your end, because you work with other entities outside of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. So talk about the process and how it works on your end.
So we affiliate with the social workers at the hospitals and also with quality of life social workers, where we deal with a lot of the hospice kids. Dealing with the hospice kids allowed us to create a new program called Happy Hearts, where we grant wishes for them while they're going through end of life treatment. And it just kind of ballooned from there, because some of the social workers we deal with also social workers for Labana Children's Hospital. So that's kind of how that got tied in. And, it's amazing that, all the different things that we can do to help put a smile on the kid's face or a smile on a family's face, as well as try to be that financial support for them and, help them go through those struggles, like you say, that, only they just have to worry about their child. And just like St. Jude said, they want them to just focus on that. That's the same thing we want to. So we just try to fill in what the hospitals don't and more.
What's been the feedback? Because obviously I've got to imagine tremendous appreciation from the families and the children. So what's been some of the feedback you received that's put a smile on your face so far?
Oh my gosh, it's amazing, because for instance, we have the CHF family house where families come there and spend time as one with their family, as a family, because of the COVID rules that keeps them from staying at the Target house and the Ronald McDonald house. And it's funny, every time a family leaves, there's a card or a small token of appreciation that's left in the house for us, saying how much they appreciated being able to stay here, and all of the love and just the kind words that comes from that. That's something that really warms my heart. It makes me smile, and it makes me excited to be able to assist the next family. And, to be able to get handmade gifts from kids, they don't have to do stuff like that, but small tokens like that means the world to me, and it makes me want to do it more and more.
Talk about some of the numbers, over 3,000 families that you've been able to impact. What are some of the other numbers that put a smile on your face when you look at the dollars raised, the dollars given? What are some of those other numbers like?
One of the numbers that I've been really, really happy about this year is the sponsor support. We have just had our bowling tournament, and we had a record number of 8 sponsors to be a part of that. It's been great. I've been so excited about the fact how we went the first year of helping maybe one family to now we are helping over 3,000. Have helped over 3,000 families. Not simply because we're helping one at a time, but now we figure out how we can help groups of people at one time. It's unreal. It's been pretty much thanks to listen to the social workers, listen to their needs, and listen to the families and their needs. And also the advice that St. Jude gave me as well, to be able to try to handle or impact groups of families or groups of kids versus just one or two, even though we still provide those individual needs.
What would you say on your end when you look at having a full-time job and this being something that is a passion, obviously, but the fact that, you can pour in on both sides, how has this kind of changed your perspective of your ability to make a difference and be the catalyst in the lives of others?
I will say it's not easy. It gets pretty tiring, because if you go on a road trip and you're on the road for 8 or 9 hours, and a lot of times you want to come home and just relax. But in my case, I have to just roll up the sleeves and be able to kick it in gear and figure out ways to be more of an impact to the families, and also be inspiration to the volunteers and our team members, because they look for me to be able to guide them and figure out ways to support these other families. But it's not tough, but it's something that I wouldn't change for nothing in the world. I look forward to it. I'm always told I'm always thinking and I'm always executing, and that's true. It's funny because driving on the road is really where I get a lot of my thoughts and my ideas, because I'm just driving. So I'm just driving, listening to the radio or talk shows or whatever the case. And it's really my mobile office. I'm kind of like double dipping at the same time. But, I enjoy the heck out of it. And I get a lot of great kind words for people who follow us, talking about, how much of an inspiration they are and how much they're glad to be a part of what we do. And even on top of that, asking how they can help, which is something that's, we have an open door. If you want to be a part of what we do, then we'll welcome you in to be a volunteer, to help recruit, to help fundraise, and things like that.
Go ahead and carry that forward into how can we help? So talk about ways we can volunteer. How can we help you fundraise? Talk about opportunities to serve with you.
I was going to carry it on, but I said, I got a feeling that's going to be one of his next questions. But yeah, visit our website at chrishopefoundation.org. On there, you will see all the different programs that we have going on. You can also see ways to donate, and there's also an get involved link where you can sign up to be a volunteer, subscribe. That way, anything that we have going on, you can be able to receive it firsthand and to be able to get our monthly newsletters to talk about what we have done, what we planning to do, and how you can be a part of it.
What's your vision when you look at, what lies ahead and what you're building toward? Talk about some of the impact goals and your vision for the future.
Well, one of the things that we're starting this year is being able to help families that who suffer with funeral costs after losing their child. That is one program that I want to help elevate and be more involved in. That's something that's new. I want us to be able to get to a point where we become a full staff I like for us to be able to full staff and to be able to do more, because pretty much right now we're just a group of people who volunteer and give the time that we can. But I want to be able to get to a point where we can be a full staff and do unlimited amount of things, not only for this community, but nationwide as well.
You mentioned some of the advice that St. Jude gave you for working with groups of families versus individual families. What's another bit of helpful advice that you've received either from the nonprofit side or from the business sponsors or the volunteers saying, hey, here's something that you can do to magnify your efforts? What's been a bit of helpful advice?
I would say basically to keep doing what we're doing, to continue our efforts. Don't stop, dream big and make it a success. It's amazing that, we try to do as much as we can for as many people as we can. And people are starting to see that. And they really push our efforts and really support our efforts. But basically it's, keep striving for the best and, don't stop, and that they're there for us if we need them. And that helps out a lot. I mean, that is big for us being a small organization.
What words would you give, especially I'm thinking for young professionals and youth? You hear often that, many people get stuck on the title. They have to be the CEO or they have to have some great title to be able to then make a difference. And so in their mind, they have to achieve some high level of success to then be able to pay it forward. And to me, you're the perfect example of saying, no, wait a second, wherever you are in life, you have an opportunity to give back and make a difference. You don't have to wait for a title. You can do it now. And so what words of encouragement would you give to those to be a catalyst now, to take action, to do exactly what you're doing, which is to step in and kind of burn the candle on both ends, but to be able to give back and help?
Well, one thing, you have to put self out. I mean, you can't think about yourself, period, not at all. And be focused on what you're trying to achieve. Nobody cares about titles, to be honest with you. And the only reason I have a title is because I have to have a title. You have to just focus on what it is that you want to achieve and make that your main goal, make that your main purpose, and be ready to put a lot of time. I mean, literally, this is a 24/7 deal that you're dealing with. You think about it, you sleep it. I mean, it's on your mind constantly. There is no dying down. There is no breaks, even when you try to take a break. And it's tough and it's a grind, but the reward in the end, if you're doing it for the right reason, it makes it all worthwhile. And I think that's what drives me, to be able to not say no, but always say yes. When a social worker says that there's a family that needs a certain thing, we always say yes. And if it's something that we can do, we partner with other organizations so we can continue to say yes. And that's what, depending on if you're trying to help others, that's the position that you want to be in. Forget about yourself. It's not about us. It's not about what we do. It's about what we do for others.
You mentioned the volunteerism. You mentioned there's a donate now button basically on the website where people can financially contribute. Talk about sponsorship opportunities, especially for corporations to step in on a large scale, and then for individuals to give and be a part of what you're doing. So talk about the financial gifts and where those dollars go and how important that is to be able to make a difference.
Yes, of course, individual donors, they can do one-time or recurring donations, whichever way they choose, whatever amount they choose. We have some pre-selects there, or you can enter your own amounts. As far as corporations go, we have 2 major events a year, 2 or 3 major events a year where sponsorship is always there. And of course, it could be for one event or for each and every event that we have. And I mean, the dollars goes towards the cause. I mean, there is, even though we have these select programs that we offer, I mean, but there's always additional things that we do along the way. So a lot of the funding does go toward the mission and not necessarily staff, because right now we're just a volunteer staff for now. But I mean, in order for us to grow and become bigger and stronger and make a more of an impact, there's going to be a point where we're going to have staffing and be able to do more. And that's what I'm looking forward to, doing more.
We'll wrap up with contact information. You mentioned the website. Go ahead and mention it again.
Yep.
Where can we learn more and get involved with your foundation?
ChrisHopeFoundation.org. That's the place to go and find out everything about the Chris Hope Foundation. It is loaded with information. I mean, if there's any questions that you may have, you find our email address there. You find our contact number there, which is 1-800-807-HOPE, which is 4673. But yes, ChrisHopeFoundation.org. Check it out. I think you'll be pretty impressed with the things that we offer and the things that we do for all these families, not just here, but worldwide.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, you are an inspiration. You are a change maker. Thank you for everything you're doing and for coming on the show.
Hey, I appreciate the opportunity.